Hi, stars over the moon. So, anyways, welcome to this Thursday evening with Poetry Report by BT and me, Mike. Hi, Go. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, welcome to send a DM if you'd like to. But first, we have our usual curated list put together by BYBT. So, welcome everyone joining us here at Poetry Report by BT. And I will start poetry because I think we have some 23 in the created list. Hi, Perhap. And so struggling somewhat then. They seemed to be doing all right, and then they weren't doing all right. The second half was abysmal. It really was. No. On that note, but at least we're doing better than the Scottish team. So only just. Um, so anyway, we'll start off with delirium underscore rights and a poem called I Will Return. Hi, Scarlett. I come to you when you least expect me, to strike you with my dagger, laced with pain and anguish. I am adversity. Those shivering lips and eyes filled with unshakable faith confront me. They overlook the blood I've leaked from your skin and the hope I've oozed from your fingertips time and time again. I am adversity, but maybe I left you stronger than you were yesterday. Just maybe, just maybe. I think we deal, hi Condor, we each deal with adversity differently, and unfortunately we all have to deal with it sometime. Rather not, but it's all the rich tapestry of life. So our next poet is Tristine underscore writes, and what are your thoughts? Do you believe? Um, and they say, may I indulge you in a thought of life? I promise it will be interesting. Do you know, in the world of living, we have two states, the one who breathes life and the one who loses to death. In any day, the number of souls whom we lost to death can easily surpass the ones who breathe. So for the next time, when you take this life for granted, remember there are many lost souls who could give anything in this world to be alive. In the world of the living, we are the endangered species, not them. We are. We are. And just always make it a joy to be alive. Not always easy, but we should. We really should. So we're moving through our creative list. And our next poem is by incandescent underscore inferno. Hi, Velma Poetry. And they say, in the caption, they say, I didn't even come close to doing your potato salad and cream cheese pound cake justice. Right, there we are. I think this might be a bit of prose. So, I didn't even come close to doing the potato salad and cream cheesecake pound cake justice. The people gave their stamps of approval that I collected in my book underneath the tab, almost but not quite. You'd laugh if you could see the variety of deeds I've shoved into the particular category, a book title I should consider. Perhaps not sure it hits the mark though. What does it take to get off the spinning wheel of hitting the mental marks I've burned into my psyche? Not giving a shit is easier said than done. All those who don the banner are lying. Deep down they care. Stupid, trendy defence mechanisms disguised as strength and power. It's all a crock, isn't it? These days certainly begun their blur from sun up to sundown. The pauses at the blooms take my breath away. I am reminded to look in all the directions. There is beauty, there is purpose, there is love, even if I must reach inside to find it. The dogwoods are showing off lately. It's time to think to plant one in my own garden. Yes, and why not? Because they are beautiful as well. Interesting thoughts. I think we do put a lot of things into what we do, and even when we say we don't care, we actually do. But yeah, well said. So we move on to our next piece, which is by Courtney Whittemore, and in the caption they say, I was talking to my dad the other day, and he paid me the best compliment I think he ever has. We were driving to an appointment I didn't want to go to, but just as the sun began to rise and the clock read the time, I'm normally not awake. To witness, my dad said, you don't care what other people think about you anymore. And he's right. That's great. Because that doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. If you run around thinking about other people, caring what other people think about you all the time, you don't achieve anything. Hi, Ragged. So, what they say is, what can you do about it? And Jamie K. Poem a Day, 2024. Shallow expectations of others whole, refuse to choke. Turn poison into choices you'll never offend. Alter timelines by lifting lifelines from your palm. Trace songs into your skin. Forgive sins that were not sinned by the living in plain sight. Fight the urge to purge your insides of your multitudes. Choose to paint the sky the colour of your mind, even if it's blue. Excuse your muse from hiding behind your spine. Scribble your darkness into light that does not fear the night. Hold your breath and count the pounding stardust as it leaks in your veins. Exhale frailty, devour divinity, become infinity. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I think your muse sometimes does carry away. But some things need to be said and some things need to be done. That's for sure. And our next poem is by Gift of Poetry. Nothing in the caption. So I drink first because it's called Broken. I saw him some years later, void of the mischief and hunger that had once burned in his eyes, sitting staring aimlessly at a bus stop. I walked past without saying anything. He looked lost. Maybe that was his deserved reality, the result of regret eating up every last morsel of his humanity. Maybe he was just lost in thought, living his life like everyone else, but maybe not. In the back of my mind I kept hearing his feeble attempt at apology. I didn't mean any of it. Again and again, I didn't mean any of it. His choked admittance pitifully in his delivery. For a long time I took solace from the belief he'd been cast out, penance for the lives he had imbued with misery. But memories are short, and people move on. It was my fault. I should have known something was wrong. My son was 13 years old. He was kind and gentle, quiet and careful. We used to say he was old before his time. I loved everything about him more than anything. I loved that he was mine. He started to withdraw shortly after he turned 9. We thought it was his age, practising for his moody teens, behaviour jumping to the extremes. We'd try and talk to him, but he didn't want to know. He'd pull away, and all he'd say is, "Can I go?" We'd fall out if we pushed him to open up, so we didn't. I wish to God we had done. I wish he'd told me or his mum. I wish so many things. I wish I could tell him how sorry I am for not protecting him, my beautiful boy. The bully that drove my innocent son to take his own life, carrying on like nothing ever happened, he would have been 25 now. That should have been my son sat at the bus stop lost in thought. It should have been my boy I'd seen, not him. He doesn't deserve the life he has. His existence is a knowledge that burns me in endless torture. My son is just a thought that I spend every day fighting to hold on to, scared in case I forget a single detail. I'm falling through the shattered pieces of what's left of my life, feeling every cut from the shards that pierce my every step. I have such rage inside that it terrifies me. Nothing can ever extinguish its ferocity. There will not be any piece of me, but I cannot hate. I cannot allow the pain inside me to manifest against another. For my son's sake, I have to carry the weight. For what does it say if I want someone else to suffer? Is that not the reason this happened? My broken heart could break 1,000 others, but to what end? Nothing will bring him back. No amount of blame changes what he's done. No amount of begging will give me back my son. I shall see out what is left of my mournful life, surrounded by memories of a once happy place, silently looking forward to my final breath, so I can once again see my little boy's face. Tragic, but absolutely beautiful. And yeah, and it is. And the thoughts, they never leave you. They never leave you. But hatred cannot be allowed to burn you up. Hi, Tommy. So we have a piece by Thoughts to Verses. It was heartbreaking, absolutely. And they are the things that cheer you up. And hatred can do that. It can be debilitating. It really can. Now, I've had a piece by Thoughts to Verses, and it's just laugh, just cry, but right. Laugh, cry, but all above all right. Grab hold of your pen, poet, and just fucking write. It will be all right. Laugh, even if you're dying inside, words still matter. The universe commissioned you as a scribe. Don't you dare hide. Cry when injustice fails to subdue. Today even criminals run for president, and the world turns a blind eye to genocide. Humanity is a roller coaster ride. Right, not for likes or follows. Poet, your heart bellows truth in a world full of sorrow. No one can take away the gift of tomorrow. Weird and unpredictable times we are living, but hope is what your words are giving. So pick up the fucking poem post. Words are your most precious weapon. Don't give up the fight, so just laugh, just cry, but most of all, poet, just write. IG's got a hard, nasty habit of that, Ragged. It can be a right nuisance at times. It is frustrating, very. So that was Thomas. That was Thoughts to Verses. We do live in a world, and we're seeing some tragic and strange things going on, and we're speaking out against it. But you're hoping those who can make massive difference will listen. Welcome everyone joining us here on Poetry Book by BT on this Thursday evening with me, Mike. So our next poem is by Tarnished Souls. And I think it's called, no it's not, it's by C_Writes. It's called Tarnished Souls. Tarnished shoals unravel in a warp of tempo crumbling. Syncopated rhythms burst to the heavens as they tumble, fumbling with the threads of fate. Our destinies play out, leading us in unparalleled beats of torture, tormented breaths captivated by the sins of humankind. We flounder, jumping into perilous waters, arms raised, we try parting waves. On some chrysanthemum seas, coloured flora of beliefs we never walked, distancing ourselves from other feelings, those we forced into a coma. Asleep dulled of dreams, walking only in a land of forsaken hopes. Our tortured wings, our spoil won, our fallen loves failed. We are grounded, bound to the earth with muffled thoughts, that surge from a melancholy watered down enough to swallow this interlinking hollows, our living shadows gravely, wrought from some seething darkness held within. Our throbs knocking, beating down hearts, wounded door to break us, to break the shell, to commiserate, to break through, to amend all the breaking, the shattering noises, pounding louder, even louder in the brain, seeking but an antidote, to wash away the bitter pain, the pain that stains the mind, the hand that fails at rising beyond the tearful bed. Interesting, deep thoughts of melancholy, and and other thoughts underneath, weaved within the lines. So we move on to Amber Writes and a piece called Reluctant Reciprocation. I sat, pretending not to care, a reciprocation of your coldness on a sombre day, as resignation to where you placed me far from you. What you don't know, each second of reluctant reciprocation etched stress fractures in the part of my heart which forever belongs to you. A promise made on a day loss of you was feared, to never let another sever their connection, laid in broken pieces in the fractures, my sobs shook wider. My love never leaves as they deal with the unpleasant reality before me of losing you again. Should your tender heart return, I'll be here for reconciliation and restoration. That makes you wonder. It makes you wonder on the waiting. Beautifully penned, and it does make you wonder on the waiting. Absolutely right. Always wonder on that one. So this is called Keeper of Three Paths, and it's by Poetry of Dark Angel. I am the keeper of three paths. I am justice, rebirth, and the sacrifice of all within. I am the balance between life and death, the truth within the darkness, and the keeper of all sins. My whispers are sunk deep within the realms of the one searching for enlightenment and truth. For I am the keeper of the shadows and all that you seek. I am the one you'll meet on your soul journey. I will guide you into the depths of your darkest days, uncovering all you kept hidden and locked away. I will unlock all within your mind, unleash everything that hides. I will teach you three paths along the way, each one with lessons, The darkest path will test your soul, the lightest path will test your heart, and the third will test your faith. Yes, that dark night of the soul is a time you'll never forget, because it is symbolic death and rebirth. So yeah, interesting. And we have Bab in the picture on the actual thing. We have, yeah, I think Bab is there talking. So that is poetry of an archangel. And the next poem is by Bridal School Poetry, and it's called Finding Balance. You called out to me, you begged and pleaded, but I refused to listen. Over and over, I couldn't stand another moment. Even when I tried to hear you, I could not understand, almost refused to understand. Your reasonings to my logic just could never mesh. And here we are, still trying. Balance and give and take. Without it, you're a bit lost. You really are. But an interesting, right? And yes, always attempt to find balance. And the next one is Equidragon. And what they say in the caption is just a Saturday medley of words. From here and now to future space, I wonder where I'll be. A million paths my mind will trace, potentials all I see. Will I survive another day? Watch the sun fill the sky? Will self-deception have its way? With belly up, I die. Shall love at last show its face, present with me with a high? Shall hate mar my tiresome face, so all I say is bye? All these thoughts in a pressing sway, I wonder why I try. They're always there in constant play, they're always there to pry. Potentials I see, a million paths my mind will trace. I wonder where I'll be from here and now to future space. It's an interesting medley of words from Equidragon. And we do. Well, I think we sometimes have those confused moments where we're flying around and we wonder what we're doing. And next piece is by Sean.Thomas.Poetry, and it is called Not Yet Time. It's not yet time for fear, not yet the time for voices strained. The road is tough on this side now. Each step has been plagued by rain. A foot sinks deep on city streets as hydrants cry familiar tears, and broken spirits pave the way the trail has been travelled for years. Yet still these waters rise, and breadcrumbs float atop the sea. Caught in between the leagues and miles, the way back home is lost on me. Is it not yet the time for fear, the time for lips to part with screams, the time where panic gives way to prayers, the time this nightmare proves just a dream? More questions and more wondering. And yeah, I think no time for fear. Yes, and the road, yeah, I think if most of us got that, yeah, absolutely awesome. Yeah. And is it time for lips to part with screams? The time where panic gives way to prayers. This time for nightmare proves a dream. I think a nightmare is often a nightmare. So our next poem is by Rose_Colleen_Poetry, and it's called Rose Gardener's Disease. My rosebud heart bellows in deep agony as he tampers about my sorrowful LAD artery, carelessly constructed from prick of a thorn, releasing rose gardener's disease. Finding sanctuary under sporifix covers, my backbone comely woven with callous palms, poisonous fingers soaked in the scent of indifference, pacing the enclosed walls of my mind, built with malevolent intent by my own ventromedical prefrontal cortex, frantically pinned post-it notes, moments written of influctuating doubt. Interesting, don't you think? So we're our worst enemy, and our mind is our closest friend again, but our worst enemy. It has two blades that cut. Our next poem is quite an old one, I think. It's from Midnight Musings on Sort RT. It has got a trigger warning for self-harm. And it's called The Lamb. A solivagant, sequestered in realms of the Holy Ghost, where your soul rendered asunder by sacraments shattered, as remnant screams rendered, sanctums unhallowed, still bleeds. Prophet, be given to mitigate, placate, consolate, demons' devotion to death fail to exorcise. Rigorous rituals readily realised rein in the rancorous wrath of perdition. Bound, as the duteous lamb at the rite of ablution, they're offered to expurgate visions that implicate, arms debate apparitions that imprecate innocence. Penitent, self-ordained at the font where sanguineous stains are your power, your weakness, your solace, your bane, where confessions of psychics vest with implored mercy fleeting. Redeemed, still the saint and sinner condemns its illusion with damnable glares and incessantly conciliates, claiming where you were, each transgression is purged by rubicund prayer and absolved in a unction of crimson despair. Obsessient but fearful, forsaken you follow, for you are the pastor, assembling the sacristy, you are the prelate, anointing the altar, forlorn, you are priestess, presiding at vespers, and you are the lamb. That's certainly an offering, a ritual offering of that. And our next poem is by, it was beautifully written, and Anna wrote some beautiful poetry. We don't see very much of Anna these days. I mean, she pulled away a year or so ago. And next one is Brian, which is Imagination Born in the Dark. And it's called Born in a Grave. Thank you, Choice Girl. I fed you as a child, but I was oblivious to you being there. I even fed you growing up when the others did not care. I never even knew you, but you waited till I bloomed, an animal born inside of me from that within you've groomed. I never knew addiction. I did not see you there, but now I see you clearer when you dragged me by the hair. Kicking and crying, screaming, but the thing inside me grew. I never asked you in my life, but you always followed through. You kept me bound and then played with me like you always did. You are my demon stalker, even in my dreams you even hid. You cut me up with voices which you planted in my mind. I know you'll never let me go, as you were just binding time. The seeds you planted deep inside receptors in my head. Your only dying wish for me was you'd always wanted me dead. I gave you everything I had. I sold it for your charms. Eventually you fell asleep inside my very arms. I curse I carried all my life. I was blinded by my needs. With all your many narcotic trials, I wanted to succeed. For cravings that I could not hide because I always had a need. You hit me when I was so weak. I did not see you come. I reflect a passage of my life which you have now become. So fly away now, let me go from this prison that you've made. I know when I don't fight you back, my cravings slowly fade. You come in many forms and you go by many names, and each and every one of you takes shifts for me to dig my early grave. A force of nature haunting lives at millions dollars spade, but my debt in here with you I feel I have already paid. All of them things you did to me, the abuse you always sold, crawling under this skin of mine like the furry rotten mould. The alcohol came later, but depression thrives in you. The legal name, but it still haunts me too, that I harm myself so willingly for the sake of knowing you. But the scars are just a memory of a place I once walked through. And that is a tragedy about addiction. And if you can beat it, yeah, that's fantastic. So it's a really good one by Brian. And it was really Brian. That's Imagination Born in the Dark. He always writes powerfully, especially when he's talking about addiction and abuse. Absolutely right. So the next poem is by simple_words_of_a_complex_man. And they say truth is nothing but blackness. Very dark writing and very meaningful as well. Absolutely right. So this is Simple Words of a Complex Man. And it is the truth is nothing but blackness. I've been standing here for about an hour now, wiping the steam from the mirror every few seconds, secretly hoping each time the reflection will change. My tired... I think I'll start that again. I've been standing here for about an hour now, wiping the steam from the mirror every few seconds, secretly hoping each time the reflection will change my tired vacant eyes. Grey stubble blanketing my chin. When did I get so fucking old? Maybe it's just these damn lights. Yeah, that's it. It has to be the lights. Easy enough fix. Fragile glass shatters beneath my hard fist. At last, cold darkness embraces me. I can hear the blood dripping into the sink, but I could not care less. Finally, the mirror reflects me truthfully. It shows nothing. Nothing but blackness. And that is a very dark poem. Absolutely. And we move on to Moon Muse. And nothing in the caption. So no title. That was very dark. So this is no title. I hope you find yourself again. See the world with your own eyes. Speak your truth from the heart with words just yours. Know it's okay not to be perfect. You're allowed to be human. With all the emotions you have been gifted. Laugh and cry and feel hurt and angry. Be the light and the dark. Be yourself. Not a chimera of idolised personas, too lofty for this earth. Yeah, just be you. I think we have to put on enough masks with our lives, whether we're a work life or a social mask or a home mask or whatever. So be you. It's easier. And our next poem is by Chris, and that's Alchemist Poetry, and it's on the matter of hope. I remember to see the sunrise of those with closed eyes. I wash my face with running water for those covered with the earth. I am choosing to do more good here than evil. If they blow up a refugee camp, then I will build a school in its place. How I will teach each student to read and write humanity. Tell me, there is no hope, and I will change the light bulb at the end of your tunnel. Our greatest strength is a gift that we are born with. Mine happens to be hope, so take it. Because what is a gift if it is not shared? And absolutely, we have to have hope, and we have to have light at the end of the tunnel. So our next piece is by twisted.word.tango, and it's for a prompt when my ink runs dry. When my ink runs dry, my soul's checked out. I sit in numb, and yet I breathe. From time to time, if the sun might shine, it sends out bolos for a sad marauder that is armed and dangerous to thriving psyches. I keep rapping and popping until he implodes with a howl and comes staggering home, to reconstruct and reform atom by atom, soul-crushingly slowly. Then once again my ink begins to crawl. Never let your ink run dry. So our next poem is by Wordless Poetry, and it is called In Silent Screams. In time's relentless forge, a spirit clad in iron, beneath the sky that watches dreams quietly mourning, each day a battle waged in silence, shadowed in a world of unvoiced dreams, chains unseen. Craved by the world's expectations, a mask donned in pride, yet beneath the armour a truth resides, echoes of a lost past where innocence once thrived, now in regret's fortress, ceaselessly derived. The chorus of the fallen whispers on the wind, a tale of a soul by its own hands pinned, seeking redemption in a realm that withholds its desires, on life's unforgiving anvil harsh realities expire. In the echo of the unspoken where reflections lie, a search for freedom stretches towards the endless sky, bound by invisible tethers in fate's relentless game. There remains a shadow, unforgiven, untamed. In silent screams indeed. Silent screams indeed. Anyway, welcome here at Poetry Sport by BT on this Thursday evening with me, Mike. And we have a poem called Woman, a Mystery Unsolved. It was beautifully flowing. And this is written for her friend Robin. That's Leonora's Beautiful Chaos Poetry. And it's a Woman's Day special live. For the ones who fought but lost, to the ones still fighting, and to the ones who've come out of victorious, this one is for you, to celebrate the essence of you. Grace and strength, confidence and poise, beauty and brains, you name it, she has it all. She's a vision of calm and serene, but a fierce lioness when it comes to saving her own. She's born a free spirit that may have been reckless once, but is now tempered by wisdom. She's been through a lot and fallen 1,000 times, but time and again she's risen like a phoenix from the ashes and soared to new heights of awareness and dived into the depths of her soul. She now knows that her priority first, those dreams and aspirations that she'd push away for so long while playing her various roles in life, are now beckoning her to express. She's taken it all in her stride, the bitter with the sweet, the heartache with the love. She's never the one to complain, for she's the epitome of resilience and a strength to reckon with. She's me, you, and all the women around the world. And that's from Hearts of Flicker. And it's about Leonora. Robin, Leonora's beautiful kind of poetry. And our next poem is, it's gorgeous. It's interesting for the Women's Day. And yes, Robin is a wonderful person as well. Absolutely. So this is by Emily Salt Poetry, and it's called Popcorn Ceiling. And in the caption, they say, I was lying on my bed with my youngest this evening, and we looked up at our awful popcorn ceiling. It began to morph into something else. It looked like a texture of toast, and we imagined we were in the middle of ingredients for the sandwich. So this is Popcorn Calling. In the room I lay my head. The ceiling wants me dead. Its protruding spikes stare at me all night. I pretend it's popcorn instead. Delicious, salty or sweet, popped kernels are the best treat. I eat them up one by one. Sleeping with snacks overhead. I know it's poor folks' food, and the cows like it too. Oh gosh, I think I'm full. I ate my way through the roof. Starry views are the proof I've broken the ceiling rather than dealing with threads of death on my bed. Interesting abstract thoughts. Welcome on join us here at Poetry by BT on Thursday. And that's, definitely an interesting abstract thoughts about what's in the bed. And the next poem is After the Why by Inkty Words. And it's After the Why. You say, why did I go that way? You say, why did I hurt you so? You say, why did I feel that way? And you say, why did I let you go? And when I say, I mean you. And when I say you, I mean me. And when I say lie, I mean yours. And when I say hurt, I mean mine. And I only ever meant hello until I meant goodbye. And you only meant you know that you wouldn't make me cry. You say, tell me something good. You say, tell me something real. You say, tell me that you would. You say, I hate what I made you feel. And when I say me, I mean you. And when I say you, I mean me. And when I say try, I mean yours. And when I say wait, I mean mine. And I only ever meant to grow until I meant rewind. And you only ever made it so. You wanted another kind. You say I never stopped. You say I still love. You say I cannot opt. You say I'm thinking of. And when I say I mean you. And when I say you, I mean me. And when I say guilt, I mean yours. And when I say strength, I mean mine. And you only ever meant to know, even when I meant your lies. And you only never meant to show, but you understood my why. You say I know you did you wrong. You say I missed your life. You say I've been too long. You say I always call you wife. And when I say I meant you, and when I say you I meant me, and when I say wish I meant yours, and when I say truth I meant mine. And I only ever meant you know, even when I meant to try, and you still only mean to grow in spite of all my whys. I say you look too long, I say you are too late, I say I am too strong, I say I didn't wait. And when I say I meant me, and when I say you, I meant you, and when I say regret, I meant yours, and when I say no, I meant mine. And I only ever meant hello until I meant goodbye, and you never meant to let me go, but you still understand my why. There's always a reason in why, and that's why I cannot say hello, even though I cannot say goodbye. That could do with more talking about, because it's an interesting thought of a two-way conversation of meaning and what was meaning. Very clever and lovely writing, and it just bounces around inside your head. Yeah, and when I say me, I meant you, and when I say you, I meant me. It's this confusing dichotomy of conversations, which are often misunderstood. And I only ever meant to grow until I meant rewind, and you only ever made it so you wanted another kind. It just goes on beautifully like that. Well, that brings us to the end of our creative poetry. And I have a poem from Ragged the Poet, and it's called Chains of Time. If I can do that, I'll better save it, because otherwise I'll forget. So this is Change of Time. I think I'll have some water, which sounds like a good idea. So this is Change of Time by Ragged the Poet. We're chained to time as shifting sand, so in this age just who will stand between the raging sea and pregnant land, where giants roam the drifting shoal and surges tide exert control, the ocean and its secrets hide their toll. As distant mountains frame the day, while eyes are gazing far away, young dreamers tempt the fates and lose their way. On narrow paths where pilgrims trod, they concentrate their steps to God, while cynics warn that faith is just facade. Here in the landscape of the heart, the restless moon will play its part and lure the hidden vision we call art. We thrust upon the spinning ball where time will ravage one and all, and know even our greatest champions will fall. So when the winter calls my name, the change of time will make their claim, and I'll walk in shadow just the same, to let the earth embrace my bones, and slowly turn my fresh flesh to stone, as feral skies rejoice and draw me home. Oh, he's such a magical writer. He's Ragged, and yeah, and he certainly does love a bit of rhyming. So do I, absolutely. Hi everyone, joining us here at Poetry Support by TBT. So it was a lovely piece by Ragged the Poet, it really was. And we are tied in by the chains of time. He's so not wrong there. And we have another poem by Tommy, that's T.M. DeSaro, and it is one word. Well, I think Tommy thinks one word is Tommy DeSaro. That's two words, but there you go. Right, so we have one word. We spend all our years as a tale is told, from a voice we can't hear and a mouth we can't see. With the ending unknown as the story unfolds, we must learn as we go, till our souls are set free. These first lines you'll find in the 4th book of Psalms, quite out of context, but what can I say? A verse repositioned with hardly a qualm, shining pretext for some rainy day. So here lies a view of the plains that we make. There are paths we must follow, old habits to break. Our existence is set, but we all have a voice, for the life that we get is a matter of choice. Whatever we wish will eventually be, the good and the bad, or whatever's left between. The orders we place with this cosmic machine are like tricks of the mind that we never can see. Like a face on a wall in the shape of a stain, some question marks placed with no reason or rhyme. A hearth full of echoes to haunt your refrain, a guide that will lead us from this space and time. The lives that we waste while we're chasing our dreams are like crumbs that we feed to the darkened bird of time. With whispered regrets turning slowly to screams while flying in circles as thoughts in our mind. Of words we must swallow that stick in the throat, we choke on the truth and we never know why. A fistful of fleas and an old furry coat just itching for answers we cannot believe. For we have only memories to prove what we know, a notebook of quotes from the life that we lose. Some fine recollections with nothing to show, a map of redemption that people will choose. Spending our years as a song that is played, born out of joy with the sweetness of sound. Lyrics becoming the ill words we say, haunting the present with questions abound. Singing the blues, and we're changing the tune, losing the chords as we slide down the scale. Clinging to minor keys, heartbreak and gloom, until there's no music, just words as a tale. These stories of lives that you hear in your head, voices like angels continually call, and heavenly stars circle round your bed, as one world becomes the sum total of all. And it so does. Love that. So many brilliant lines there. But I do love the lives that we waste while we're chasing our dreams are like crumbs that we feed to the dark birds of time. That's such an eloquent truth. And yeah, we are taught to chase these dreams, and it's so much so. So that's a brilliant poem by Tommy, just by T.M. DeSaro. And that brings us to the end of our Thursday evening. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for the lovely poetry, and I'll catch you next week. All for now. Bye for now. My pleasure, Tommy, always. Thank you. Thank you, friend.